Success. Oh my God. Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to build 3 magnetic tool holders. One for the MIG gun torch, one for my plasma cutter torch, and one for my angle grinder. They are based loosely on Jimbo's Garage design, which I will include a link to in the description below. The MIG gun and the plasma torch holder are going to be exactly the same. I'm just going to use a pipe for an orifice for the nozzle to rest in like so. However, the angle grinder holder is going to be a fork design so that the head of the angle grinder just rests inside the fork when you're not using it. Once I get the layout done in cardboard, I'll transfer it to a 3/16 plate steel. And there you have it, a rough layout for the plasma cutter and the MIG torch holder. The grinder and paint makes me the fabricator, I ain't. There's our rough cutout. I'm just going to score these lines for bending. Like that. I think the angle should be sharper. Pretty basic, pretty simple. Hopefully we can make it happen. Let's have a look in the tickle trunk and see if we have some pipe of sufficient diameter to hold my tools. It's galvanized, but works for the MIG gun. Will it work for the plasma? It will. Now that I think about it, this 16th inch plate should be sufficient. I'm going to use some pieces of plywood that I have lying around just to hold the material off the table. Alright, so we'll get an outline done here, trying to waste as little material as possible. Look at that. Get 2 birds stoned with 1 joint. We'll go at her with the angle grinder. See what happens. I think tools that have a movable guard like this should have some kind of a quick release system. I'm just checking to make sure that I can comfortably reach all of my lines without too much trouble. That is to say, without the camera getting in the way. I'm also going to move these magnets so they don't get covered in metal shavings. Let's do it. In the case of it's easier to do a straight line with the angle grinder, the lie detector has determined that is a lie. We'll clean those up in post-production. I bought the cheapest plasma cutter on Amazon, the Hero Cut 45i. Au revoir. We will see how well she cuts this 16th inch steel. Right through the steel underneath. Try it at 15 amps instead of 30. That's okay. It's cutting well and it doesn't appear to be burning through. I don't have much experience using this plasma cutter, and it's a difficult skill to master. Ten amps is sufficient for this thickness of material. The underlying table's getting hot, but I don't think it's doing any damage. We'll see when we're done cutting, I guess. I feel like 10 amps is a little bit low. We'll do 15 for this last long cut. You should not wear sneakers when plasma cutting. All right, so we have to fix these plates to the table in such a way that I can clean up the edges with the grinder, and that way I'll have access to more of the material. I'm using a 40 grit flap wheel, used, but should take plenty of material off to make this half decent. That's good for an initial clean. The ones that I cut with the grinder obviously will be much easier to clean than the one I cut with the plasma cutter. The day I'm recording this, not the day you see it, is Shane McDonald's birthday. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for a number of years. We worked together. Great guy. Helped me out with video editing. Gave me some tips and tricks. He's much better at it than I am, but I'm going to keep practicing and see if I can get there. Anyway, happy birthday, Shane. Hope you're having a great day. See you soon, maybe. As you can see, this has a slag all along the cut. That's molten metal that rehardened and stuck to the underlying material. One side's fairly clean, the other side's brutal. When this metal melts and rehardens, it gains a crystalline structure, and so it's very brittle. So the majority of this, I'll be able to knock it off, chip it off with a chipping or a welding hammer. And then the rest, of course, we'll have to grind. Good enough for the girls I go out with. When I'm using the flap disc, I'm trying to be conscious to keep it as flat as possible so that the majority of the material comes in contact with the disc. But as you can see, the edges are much more worn than the center. Do these look like a drunken apprentice went at them with a dull beaver? They do. Is this the first time I've ever tried to build anything like this in my life? It is. I'm not displeased with how they've turned out so far. They don't have to be very deep, just to give it a natural place to want to bend. So I'm thinking out loud. Before we bend these, I should probably drill them for the bolts that are going to hold the magnets. That way I'm not trying to drill them when they're bent into strange shapes. We've got a couple options for fasteners. They're going to be very small so that they can fit in the depressed center under the magnet, which that one does. Perfect. That's another bonus for using a thin material. The fastener doesn't have to be very long to fit through it. We'll have to go over to the vise and see if we can bend these. Exactement comme ça. It'll hold that grinder off the edge of the table. And it's naturally balanced. Same with that guy. That's okay. Square this end off because at least I know it's sitting flush on the flush on the table or the top there. So next up, I think we prep these for paint. It's hot. Probably should have done this before I bent them. So I'm thinking I would like to decorate these slightly. Maybe just with my initials. If I can draw backwards S. We'll see how she goes. Let's have a gander. Ah, that actually looks pretty cool. Handmade. This one I'll do from the front with no sleigh. She caught me. Looks good though. Do a quick little green. So these pipes have to be cleaned up. Have some of the galvanizing taken off and prep them for welding. So we got to get the ridge off of these and back up some of the galvanization so I don't give myself a galvy flu. Alright, so we're set up to weld the pipe to the tool holder. We'll tack it, remove the magnet, and weld it up solid. I think I'll open the door. Put my breathing apparatus on. There we go. Oh, it would be nice if I had a magnetic tool holder to put that on. That yummy flux core, baby! Oh yeah. It's a beautiful hot day out today, so these won't take long to dry. I'll probably shoot 2 coats of primer, maybe 3. Now we've got a couple coats of primer on there. We'll get our black general purpose enamel. All right, we're pretty dry. We'll flip them over. Get a coat of black on this side. So our paint's relatively dry. I'm gonna try to put the magnets on and we'll see if she works. Alright, tighten these up. What do you think? Will they work? Let's see. Oh, I would say Teabag. Good enough for the girls I go out with. A good day in the shop.